I shot at 300 yards, 400 yards, and 500 yards with this Radical AR-15 using a 2-MOA dot with a 65 MOA circle and the 3x magnifier behind it, right? So we got the circle dot and the magnifier, and then I shot it also with the Palmetto AR-10 Gen 3, again, holosun 510C, circle dot with a vortex 6x magnifier behind it. Okay, so the important things here is that I shot them both at 300 yards. At 300 yards, I was holding to the top of the paper, dot right at the top, okay, because I knew it would have been about a 10-inch drop, which it was with the 5.56, and I managed to get 4 out of 5 shots at 6.5 inches. Okay, so I had, like, with the 5 shots we got 8 inches, so that's 2.6 MOA. With the 4 shots we got 2.2 MOA. Okay, so that's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. You know, I can touch it, thumb to pinky. Okay, so we're hitting about 2 to 2.5 MOA. Now, when I shot it over here with the 7.62, right, American Sniper 7.62, the group here came out to about, the 5 shots came out to 6.5 inches, the 4 shots came out to 11. So basically my group here was about 3.5 MOA. Okay, so that's these shots here. Again, holding at the dot at the top of the paper here. The drop here was a little bit more. Okay, so here it was, you know, with the PMC X-Tac, we're talking about a 10-inch. Well, it's 10 inches from the top of the paper, but mind you, the dot is like over here in the center. So from the center of the dot down, it's almost like 9 inches. Okay, here with the 7.62 at 300 yards, from the top of the dot, which is at the top of the paper, to the center, we're at about 18 inches, and then from the center of the dot, we're about 15 inches. Okay, so at 300 yards with the 5.56, you put the dot in the face, you drop them into the chest. With the 7.62, you basically put them to the forehead, right? Forehead over here, and then that'll drop them into the chest. But even if you put it in the face, you're just going to drop them into the belly area. So, but that's what the difference is. It's like face versus forehead, right? So that's at 300 yards. Now, I went to 400 yards and 500 yards. All right, so with the so I shot the 400 yards first with the 5.56 PMC 5.56 16-inch barrel, and then immediately after I shot that with the 7.62. Okay, so at 400 yards with the 5.56, the dot goes on top of the head. Okay, on top of the head. So from the top of the head, these are the black circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We got a 17.5-inch group, so that comes up to like 4.4 MOA. The best of the 4, right, 4 out of 5, which is something I often do, that's 3 MOA. Okay, so we got 12 inches, 12.5 inches at the 400 yards. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 shots here. Okay, so everything's obviously within a man-sized target over here. Okay, so that was 3 MOA. The hold with the 5.56 was the dot on top of the head. Okay, so the center of the dot would have been like right about here. Okay, so that gave us about a 20-inch drop. Okay, so if you put it on top of the head, you're gonna drop them into the chest. Now with the 7.62, all right, that's the red ones over here, right? That actually gave me my best group. That was with the American Sniper 7.62 by 5.1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. The 5 shots came in at 8.5 inches at 400. So that was a 2.1 MOA at 400. And then the best 4 out of 5, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 out of 5 I got at 7 inches, which is 1.8 MOA. Okay? So basically 2 MOA, 400 yards with this Palmetto AR-10 Gen 3. 20-inch barrel. That's excellent. Okay, So that's these red ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the hold, right? And this is something that I kind of guessed from when I shot the 300 yards. Using the magnifier, what I did is I put the dot about a foot over the paper, okay? All right, so the top of the dot went about a foot over the paper, which means the center went about there, and that basically dropped them on the same line, okay? So it's going to be hard to figure out where the center is. So the best thing to do is with the 2-MOA dot, you're going to put the dot a foot over your target, and then you're going to drop it in there. Now, without the magnifier, it's hard to tell what a foot over the target is, okay? So with the magnifier, you can kind of figure out what a foot over the target is, and you're going to get these nice, what I get, nice 2-MOA shots at 400 yards, okay? Now, at 500 yards over here. So again, first I shot it with the Radical Firearms, 16-inch barrel, PMC X tank. The hold here was, you take basically you take a man from belt to head. That's your holdover, okay? So that's about the size of this paper. So I used the size of the paper as my holdover, okay? So I got, again, 5 shots. Now I only landed 4 out of the 5 on the paper, right? So we got, that's the black ones here, 1, 2, 3, 4. But these 4 shots are 9.5 inches at 500. That's 1.9 MOA, about 2 MOA. So at 500 yards with that Radical Firearms AR-15 using this PMC X-Tac, right? So that's a good hold, 500 yards. Again, the magnifier makes a big difference because it's hard to judge. Without the magnifier, it is hard to judge the distance, like the height over your target. You know, belt to head. You know, you got to be able to see the belt. You got to be able to see the head and hold over on that, okay? And I was able to see the top of the paper clearly, the bottom of the paper clearly, and basically hold that distance over. Now, with the 7.62, right? Yeah, this is what this wonderful Palmetto 20-inch AR-10. And I liked it so much that last night I almost ordered a second one. The second one I'm going to get in the 16-inch barrel. I decided to hold off a little bit. Let me at least pay for this one first, okay? But yeah, this Palmetto AR-10, it's good money, man. So anyway, that's the red shots here, okay? So one was here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 hits on paper at 500 yards, okay? The 5 shots, 18 inches. Here, let me bring you guys a little bit closer so you can see this. Okay, so the red is the 7.62. The black is the 5.56. So we got one there, and then 1. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 4 shots right here. Okay. So the 5 shots are 18 inches between the furthest 2 shots. So that comes in at 3.6 MOA. Okay. And then the best 4 out of 5, which is what I typically look at, is the distance here is 10 inches. So that comes out to 2.5 MOA at 500 yards. Okay. That is absolutely outstanding. Okay? And I got to tell you guys, this American Sniper ammunition, that's not even the best. Like the best I saw with this, I think was like 2.5 inches at 100 yards. So this thing is done at 500 yards. It's so far it's matched what it's done at 100 yards. Now the question becomes, what was my holdover? Okay, let me pull you guys back. So based on what I saw at 300 yards, I estimated that my holdover needed to be basically from the size of the paper, basically 1.5 times the size of the paper. Okay, so the size of the paper plus a half. That was my holdover. So what that translates into on the man-sized target is basically knees to head. That's your holdover over the target at 500 yards with 7.62 308, knees to head. Now it can be, again, if you don't have a magnifier, it is going to be really difficult to judge that distance because you got to be able to see the knees and you got to be able to see the top of the head. So this 6x magnifier, I mean, that's what's going to allow you. That's the difference between suppression fire at 500 yards and accurate fire at 500 yards. This magnifier here, right? Accurate fire versus suppression fire. The magnifier is going to make that difference. Okay, so Now, question becomes, why this? Why not a variable scope with a bullet drop compensator? I mean, I call this more the battle rifle configuration. You know, with this type of a setup, you know, this is for like, because you can, if you had to, you could easily clear rooms with this gun. Okay, so this might be a reason why you might want to have this type of a setup. I mean, the scope is a variable scope is going to be better, and I do have one ready to go. Okay, this one over here at 5 to 25 by 56, I think. This is going to go on that rifle. Right now, I have it on this AR-15, and I'm testing it out because I wanted to test out the scope in isolation on a gun that I'm already familiar with. Okay, and likewise, I wanted to test out this rifle, which is this AR-10 platform is new to me. I wanted to test out this rifle with an optics configuration that I was very familiar with. Okay? So again, here I'm testing out the rifle in isolation. So that scope is now just about ready to go on this rifle, and that will be better. Obviously, that will be a lot better because now this is going to become a 1,000-yard rifle. Okay, but you know, but obviously you guys can see this is big and heavy. This adds 2.5 pounds to the gun. Okay, so my thought is, and I had to hold myself back from doing this, I want to get a 16-inch AR-10 and set that up like this with the red dot and the magnifier on a 16-inch AR-10 because that's going to be more mobile. And then the 20-inch AR with this big scope over here, that's basically going to be a garrison gun, okay? Because now basically I've got like a 12-pound gun. So that's a garrison gun, fixed stationary position, like covering a road or something, right? Because AR-10, like I've come to, especially after the results that we saw with the 5.56 at 500 yards, you know, 5.56 at 500 yards is going to work just fine on soft, fleshy things, okay? Now you might say, well, here's the thing: the 5.56 at 500 yards is going to have the same energy as a Glock 43, right? About 300 foot-pounds. Now, mind you, you're poking because you're not going to have that hydrostatic damage that you have inside of 200 yards. You're just poking little 22 holes, but the mindset of your attacker is different. Okay, the mindset of an attacker inside of 100 yards. Is going to be that their best chance of survival might be to attack forward and defeat you. At 500 yards, so that's why, you know, inside of 100 yards, you need to incapacitate them. At 300, 400, and 500 yards, if you wound somebody, right, even if it's like with little 22 ice pick holes, if you wound somebody at 500 yards, their mindset is going to be to run away and get treatment. Okay, it's not going to be to continue to press the attack forward. So the mindset of your attacker is different if they're wounded at 300, 400, 500 yards versus if they're wounded at, you know, 50 yards or 100 yards or even 150 yards. You know, so that's why the 5.56, in my opinion, is adequate against soft, fleshy things all the way out to 500 yards. The AR-10, right, with the 7.62 or 308, I see this as anti-material, okay? So this is to stop the Mad Max road warriors that are trying to run you down, okay, or basically invade your camp. You know, this is anti-material, okay, because this is going to shoot through things, okay? 5.56 shooting through things at 500 yards, you know, that's, you know, now you're taking something that's already lost a lot of energy and taking away even more energy from it as it goes through things. The 7.62 at 500 yards has the same energy as the 5.56 has out of the muzzle, okay? But that's what I'm coming to, you know, that's the role I'm starting to see for these two guns. You know, AR-10 anti-material, you know, AR-15 anti-flesh, okay? I'm going to attach some video of some of the shooting I did at this 500 yards. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and drop some comments below. I'll talk to you all soon. Hey everyone, we talked a lot about shooting at 500 yards, but how do we judge 500 yards, okay? So that's really important, and if you've got the circle dot, right, the 2 MOA dot with the 65 MOA circle, you've got these little hashes here at the edge of the circle. So the great thing about this is that at 500 yards, right, a 6-foot man is going to stand at the height of this hash, right? So his foot's going to go here, his head's going to go at the top of the hash, right? So you're going to use this hash here to know if your man is at 500 yards. Now, it just so happens that the width of most cars, right, one edge of the bumper to the other edge of the bumper is about 6 foot. So you can use the horizontal hash over here, all right, to measure your cars and know when your car is at 500 yards. And I did separate videos on, Mad Max, Road Warrior defense. If you've got a car that's charging at you, right, the idea is we want to know when that car is at 500 yards. So we're going to target the top of the windshield, which is going to drop the bullets basically down into the bumper low radiator area. And as the car comes to you, the bullets are now going to rise as that distance closes, okay? And once they get within 200 yards, and at 200 yards, your dot is going to fit inside the windshield. Now you start targeting the driver, right? The Road Warrior driver as they're coming towards you, okay? So that's important. We gotta know where 500 yards is. That's why I tell people don't buy a red dot unless it also has a circle. This circle is really important for judging distance. Okay, so let's go through some other things here. So at 100 yards, your man is going to stand foot here, head here, right? Right. At 200 yards, all right, his foot's basically going to be here, and his head's going to be here at 200 yards, right? So you can see it here. Foot here, head here, right? 300 yards. Foot here, he's going to come up about 3/4 of the way, right? Between the bottom and your dot, he's going to come up about 3/4 of the way. At 400 yards, he's going to come up half of the way, okay? And at 500 yards, he's going to come up 1/4 of the way, or basically equal to the hash. It's a lot easier to, to measure against the hash. So yeah, this is really important stuff. You got to know your distances. I tell people don't buy a red dot unless it also has 65 MOA circle, okay? So thanks for watching. Talk to you all soon. At 400 yards, the PMC X-Tac gave us about 17, maybe 18 inches. It's hard to see, the paper's not straight. 18 inches. All on the paper. At 500 yards, I only got 4 out of 5 on the paper, but the 4 that are on the paper are tight. They're like at 8 inches, just with the red dot with the magnifier. And I'm guessing the other one went someplace over here. So. This Palmetto AR-10, it's in the 5th gas position, 5 of 17, locking back every time, even in that prone position. Because a lot of times when you get on the ground, just the way the gun pushes up against your body can change. So it's been locking back great. Again, this is with the American Sniper, which is not my most accurate ammunition, but I'm using a red dot, and you know, I thought the accuracy would kind of match up with the red dot since the American sniper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 8 1/4 inches. No, it's either 8 and 8. The paper's bent, so it's either 8 or 8, 8.5, somewhere there. Guys, 400 yards with a red dot. This is with the 6x magnifier, right? Holosun 510C vortex 6x magnifier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 308. I think it's about 150 grain bullet. I had my red dot, what seemed to be about a foot high, and I got this beautiful, beautiful group here. 8 and it's probably, I gotta put this on the table. It's like 8 or 8.5, somewhere like that. Nah, 500. Oh man, 500 yards, baby. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hits on target at 500 yards. That's the top of the post there, right? So what I did is I went up, and that was my hold point because I knew I needed to be about that high, and I just brought it over, and it just dropped them down over here. So because at 500 yards, I mean, I'm estimating the drop to be about 5 foot, and that's what it is to the top of the post. So this is what you gotta look for, you know, when you're shooting red dot 500 yards. Look for a hold point that you can use, and use that, you know, to hold the gun steady. Look at that, man. Look at that. I got total group 18 inches with all 5 shots. The 4 shots by themselves are we 10 inches? 10 inches. We got 4 shots at 10 inches at 500 yards with this American sniper cheap ass ammo that hits like 2.5 MOA. So it basically held that accuracy more or less out to 500 yards.